Would you survive a night at Monte Cristo Homestead? Welcome back to our Haunted Places series, where the past never stays buried. In today's episode, we journey to Australia, to a place known as the most haunted house in the entire country. It's a house with a beautiful Victorian facade, but a chilling, tragic history. We're talking about none other than the Monte Cristo Homestead, located in the quiet town of Junee, New South Wales. At first glance, it looks like a charming mansion from a bygone era, but behind its elegant exterior lies a legacy of death, suffering, and paranormal activity that has terrified visitors for decades. So what happened at Monte Cristo? Why do so many believe the spirits of its tormented past still linger in its rooms? And what are the stories that have earned this house its haunted reputation? Grab a warm drink, turn down the lights, and stay with me till the end, because what you're about to hear might just make you think twice before stepping into an old house again. The history of Monte Cristo. Monte Cristo Homestead was built in 1885 by Christopher William Crawley, a wealthy landowner who rose from modest beginnings to become one of the most prominent men in Junee. The house, perched on a hill overlooking the town, was a symbol of Crawley's success, grand, elegant, and built in the late Victorian architectural style. It quickly became a local landmark, but the Crawley story wasn't just one of fortune and grandeur. Tragedy followed them almost from the very beginning. Christopher Crawley died in 1910 from blood poisoning after developing an infection from a boil on his neck. His wife, Elizabeth, was so grief-stricken that she retreated into the house and rarely left it for the next 23 years. For the rest of her life, and was known to punish servants harshly, live in almost complete isolation, and become increasingly eccentric. Locals feared her, and some even whispered that her grief had opened a doorway to something dark. After her death in 1933, the house fell into neglect, but it never lost its dark energy. The property witnessed numerous tragic and suspicious events, many involving those who worked or lived there. Tragic events and the spirits left behind. The Monte Cristo Homestead is a magnet for ghost stories, and for good reason. Over the years, countless people have claimed to see apparitions, hear disembodied voices, and feel sudden drops in temperature. But what makes the place truly spine-chilling are the documented tragedies that occurred within its walls. Let's begin with the maid who fell to her death from the balcony. Some say she was pushed, others claim it was suicide. But what's particularly disturbing is that her ghost is said to still roam the upper floor. Guests have reported hearing the sound of a woman screaming, followed by the sound of footsteps running down the hallway, only to find the corridor empty. Then there's the story of a stable boy who was burned alive in the stables. Rumors suggest he was deliberately set on fire as punishment for some minor mistake. His screams are said to echo through the grounds late at night, long after the flames were extinguished. Is that of a mentally disabled man who was kept chained in the caretaker's cottage for decades. He was reportedly found curled in a corner, malnourished and covered in filth. After his caretaker died, the man was taken to an asylum where he died shortly after. Visitors claim to have seen his ghostly figure crouching in the cottage or heard chains dragging across the floor. There's also the mysterious case of a pregnant governess who was pushed down the stairs, and the baby who died under suspicious circumstances in the nursery. That room is now one of the most active paranormal spots in the house, with cold spots, sudden emotional shifts, and sightings of a woman in period dress cradling an invisible child. Modern-day paranormal experiences. Since the 1960s, when the Ryan family purchased and restored the home, Monte Cristo has become a paranormal hotspot. The Ryans themselves reported strange activity from the very beginning. They claimed that lights would flicker for no reason, doors slam shut on their own, and they often heard footsteps pacing through empty rooms. Many visitors and paranormal investigators have confirmed these occurrences. Some have captured ghostly images on camera, faces in mirrors, shadowy figures peeking around corners, or orbs floating in midair. Others have experienced cold hands brushing against their skin, inexplicable nausea, and sudden feelings of despair. One of the most chilling stories comes from a man who visited the home with his wife. He claimed that as soon as they entered the hallway, he felt a heavy pressure on his chest. His wife began crying uncontrollably and said she felt like someone was watching her. They left in a hurry. Marks that hadn't been there before. Some say it's Elizabeth Crawley herself who still rules over the house. Her presence is most strongly felt in her former room, where people say they feel watched, even threatened. A number of visitors have claimed they couldn't enter the room at all, as if an invisible force was keeping them out. Theories and beliefs. So what causes the haunting at Monte Cristo? There are several theories. Some believe that the intense grief and isolation experienced by Elizabeth Crawley, it never faded. Others say the energy of so many tragedies, deaths, abuse, suffering, built up over the years and turned the homestead into a magnet for paranormal activity. Another theory is that the land itself might be cursed or hold some kind of residual energy. After all, Monte Cristo is not the only haunted location in the area, though it is by far the most active. Parapsychologists who have studied the home say that it holds a unique psychic charge, and that the structure and materials of the house might actually be helping preserve the energy of past events. Whatever the explanation, one thing is clear. Final thoughts and warning. Today, Monte Cristo Homestead operates as a museum and ghost tour destination, but the owners are quick to warn guests that what happens inside cannot always be explained. Some come out shaken, others come back, obsessed with what they experienced, and a few swear they will never set foot inside again. So would you be brave enough to walk through its haunted halls, to listen for the whispering voices of the past, or to face the cold, watchful gaze of a woman who died nearly a century ago, but may never have truly left? Let us know in the comments what you think, and if you love exploring haunted histories and spine-chilling legends, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Until next time, stay curious and stay brave.